Hello and welcome to another edition of Five Things Friday with my fabulous host, Simone. Hello, Simone. How are you doing?
I'm good. Happy it's Friday.
Happy Friday. Anyway, it's been a fabulous week. I'm in the south of France, hence I'm in a hotel room still at the beautiful little town of Cannes, where I'll talk a little bit more about some of the stuff I learned. So for those who don't know me, my name's Alex. I'm an NRF retail voice of 2026.
Love it.
I help people who sell to retailers maintain their relevance. And I'm joined by my wonderful co-host, Simone Olivan, from Need It for Tonight and Dave. Simone, what's Need It for Tonight and Dave all about?
Need It for Tonight, also known as NIFT, is, I always say, easiest way to describe is it's kind of like Deliveroo, but for quality fashion. So we work with lots of different stores and brands, mainly in London, to do 90-minute and same-day delivery. We also have a lovely plugin called Dave, which isn't quite as sexy as NIFT, but we also plug into retailers' checkouts to give them rapid and localized delivery as well.
Fantastic. So listen, why don't we start with you and get straight into it? What's top of mind for you this week?
Do you know what's top of mind? And I have to say, it made me cry, is everybody's talking about it. You know what I'm going to say? It's the John Lewis Christmas advert. Honestly, I teared up and I was like, am I okay? It's a proper heart-wrencher. For anyone that hasn't seen it, the ad follows a father and son who've clearly maybe grown apart a bit until the son's gift to his dad, which was a vinyl record. It kind of shows like the connection and shared memory. It does a flashback. There's no like dramatic speech or anything, but then it ends with, if you can't find the words, find the gift, which I thought was
it's phenomenal.
It's so good. But we have all of that those times with those moments. And like sometimes, like, I don't know, it's just thoughtful, meaningful gifts are great. But I just thought John Lewis, they know what they're doing. You know, this isn't just about selling products, it's really about selling the sentiment. And it's funny, as I've been doing a lot of yapping and debating over the past week with various retailers, particularly on the topic of relevance in retail. And a lot of the time it's about what tech, you know, what are we doing? Is it AI? Like, what are we doing to stay relevant? And actually, this is a lovely reminder that sometimes the most powerful thing a brand can do is just really make the customer feel something, which isn't super easy to do. But John Lewis reminded everyone of that. And it's not the first time that their adverts have made me cry. So kudos to John Lewis.
I don't mind saying I cry to them as well. And
I love it.
I think it's Alison Limerick. I think Alison Limerick's the song that they play. Yeah. They managed to play the original, which people like myself can relate to. Then they had a newer version with just so I think the music was phenomenal. And then on LinkedIn, a bunch of men were like, oh my God, it's about time we were represented on, you know, because it's normally we don't get that much representation. Yeah, so that was really interesting. And then one of the guys, actually, when I was reading the comments, he said, you know, my relationship with my son is exactly the same. I'm welling up as I talk because Jesus Christ, because his son always has his headphones on. And so I don't know why I'm welling up. But yeah, anyway, he was just relating to the fact that he had this sort of fractured relationship with teenage boys because they sort of withdraw. And that's what that advert did really well. It's, you know, a little boy, a teenage boy. And then how you fathers see their parents in general, they see their kids as you know, as in the advert with the baby and stuff. So phenomenal. Maybe not one for Christmas. Alison Limerick, who knows, right? I don't know what other songs are out there, but it's genius. And I think just to sort of today, the 5 things is going to be a little bit because I want to talk about what's been here. But the 3, I will put out a report on, you know, after doing over 100 interviews, traveled to 13 conferences, been around the world. In my mind, there are 3 transformation elements that are impacting retailers. That's transformation, retail at the speed of culture, retail at the speed of intelligence, and retail at the speed of experience. All 3 elements have their own little buckets of things underneath. And as you rightly said, Simone, it's not just technology and AI. That's just been a distraction. And what this brings me to is a fabulous. So the conference that I'm at is basically for the people that build shopping centers, build shopping malls around the world, right? So we're talking about people with assets in the billions, and they've had a really, really tough time over the last 4 or 5 years. Assets have been declining, high streets have been shrinking, property, commercial development has not been where people are investing their billions, and it's back, baby. Retail property is back. And this was from Wakeman and Cushman, and big commercial property agents in the UK, and research from CBRE. And Chris Gardner, it was his words. He said, retail's back. We're more relevant again than ever. And from a financial perspective, if you follow the money, the capital is flowing back into physical. And so the investors are returning. And what I'm going to do is just do a quick headline. I've got about 8 little bullets. I'm just going to give you the headlines. If you want more, I'll probably do a LinkedIn post, come back and watch this podcast again, or subscribe or something. But investors are coming back. Obviously, there's a massive, depending on the geography, but number one, they're coming back. The Middle East is just exploding. And that's because places like Saudi Arabia, something like, don't quote me on the numbers, 60% of the population are under 30. Their population is around 36 million. And because, why are people investing in Saudi? That population is probably going to grow by another 10 million over the next 15 years. So shopping malls and retail brands, what a fantastic opportunity for expansion. On expansion, Simone, I think when you talk about your thing, we'll talk about how one brand is, doing it so well. They were also here telling all of these developers to, have them come into their things. Prime cities across Europe, Madrid, London, Berlin, all hotspots. Now, when you look at London and where capital is flowing, and you see on Oxford Street, it's micro property expansion. So it's not necessarily the whole of Oxford Street, but there's areas, and throughout the whole of London, there'll be that one part of the street that people like to go in, that has that community, that has that engagement, that developers are now developing for specifically retail and F&B. F&B within retail, so food and beverage. We're learning from Asia, where F&B tends to be a bigger part of retail. So you're more likely to go and eat and have a customer meeting in a shopping center than you would do in the UK. You're not really going to go to a shopping center to have a business meeting. But in some of these regions they are. But what they're mixing, these mixed-use developments, like Battersea as an example, which has that sort of mixed use. We're going to just continue to see more of that. And I think, given so much negativity that there is today, the fact that the capital, the money, when you follow the money, is coming back into retail commercial, I think that's really good. Some like other variances, vacancy rates are tight. So bidding wars are beginning to up because we've seen so many empty. And if you're watching this in a small town somewhere in the UK and you're going, yeah, but my high street isn't like that, you're absolutely right. I'm not saying that that's going to change. What I'm saying is cosmopolitan, metropolitan areas are going to continue to grow. Retail parks are quietly winning, where they've sort of found their footwear. For a while, people didn't want to go to a retail park, but again, because of the value conversation, rental growth for retail parks has been up 14% since 2018. So again, when you think about, where do retailers want to be, you do have these retail parks, but you do have these sort of, smaller format stores or flagship stores or locations where they're more experiential or cultural. I don't know what they think for cultural proof, but anyway, that's it. And then the final one, Premier and Luxury Streets, they have climbed 4% in the past year, beating most other asset classes. So although luxury brands are having a tough time expanding in their traditional markets as Asia and the US, they're still doing well. And here's the other, forgetting your politics, US brands coming into Europe is the driving growth. Expect to see more. We've spoken about on this show about how Chinese brands are coming in, but expect to see more US brands coming in because it's becoming quite a hot environment for them to grow within the US. And so you've got brands like Skims, who will, continue to grow. And I've got, again, I'm not going to, for the purposes of this, I'm not going to get into it. But yeah, so they're the major key takeaways. I don't know if anything stood out for you, Simone, as I was withering on.
No, it's really interesting, really is. And yeah, I think, as you said, we'll continue to really see the rise of those brands coming into the UK. What did surprise me is about the retail parks. It's something that I've just never really thought of. Really interesting.
Yeah. I felt that they've sort of lost their purpose for a while, because are they value? Are they convenience? Where do they lie?
Yeah.
And I think what's been proven is the fact that, yes, there's been vacancies in some of the retail parks, but they're back. People are driving to them because they prefer to go in their cars.
Yeah. No,
so our final one, what are you going to close us with?
Yes. Big retail news this week. MINISO is opening a new store on Bond Street, which is, again, as we speak about, I love to speak about bricks and mortars, but this is meant to be a full-blown experience. I will say I'm not the MINISO customer, but I'm but I think, it plush toys and Disney, Pokemon, maybe
people love it.
They do. I don't know.
At the expo, they were here, and there was a queue for the freebies that they were giving out, right? And I'm thinking,
I don't get it. But I really lean into pop culture and that kind of collectability, and it's, I guess, quite affordable design as well. It's not like the cheap stuff, but it's pretty affordable. I guess one thing that I kind of questioned is them popping up on Bond Street, which is obviously a fairly
absolutely
location, and will that align with MINISO's, I guess, quite value price ethos?
You're going to go into, I don't know, Louis Vuitton or Gucci, and then go into MINISO, but maybe that speaks to the power of their brand. I think collectibles is one thing that is going to grow in 2026, as is Fanatics, another US brand that's got retail expansion. So they're coming over, and they're all about collectibles, right? Trading things. So
I guess I'm also just intrigued to see who their customer is going to be. Is it going to be the tourists? Will the store be able to drive repeat customers? I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it rolls out.
Yeah, I think especially in Bond Street and Oxford Street, there is that, is it an anchor tenant? Are people going to make their way to Bond Street just to get their Labubu plushy toy?
I feel
say again.
I think they will, sadly.
I think, how much growth? Another interesting one that you and I have spoken about, the biggest growth area over the last year has been athleisure and fashion, right? So I know we've spoken about JD Sports, but that whole athleisure area is still continuing to grow. And I took some pictures of the slides, but it's really interesting. Okay, listen, obviously I spoke for a lot because we're at time. I don't know, I must have really been speaking a lot. Yeah, it's gone really fast. Okay, Simone, until next week.
Next week, Alex.
I'll see you then. Bye.